Hello again, everyone. It's Vince, and this is our update for February 19th, 2026. Let's take a quick look at today's action on the Dow. We were down 264 points, the S&P down 17, and the Nasdaq down 97, while the Russell was actually up 6 points. So again, a fairly quiet day. I mean, we did have some back and forth here, but at these levels, with the Dow hovering around 50,000, down 264 in any one day is not that big of a deal. If we look at crude oil, it was up another 2%. Now, it is getting interesting here. We are, at least intraday, we were above this prior high from Jan 29th. We're right there. If we look at the weekly and, and the monthly, here it is. So we found support, but we also have resistance overhead. So we're kind of stuck in this little gray area. But I do believe if we can close above this prior high here and follow through, we might get something going here on crude oil. So we need to watch that. And obviously, part of this has to do with fears of an escalation or a conflict with Iran. Rumors are out there saying we could have the U.S. strike Iran potentially this weekend. So that obviously has something to do with this. Gold down 12 points. Again, a very quiet day for gold so far compared to recent days. And silver flat up here just by 3 cents. So very quiet on the metal side. Now I do have a different metal, an ETF for a different metal that I'm going to show you in a minute that I think could be getting interesting. Bond yields were lower. The dollar slightly higher here, still having a tough time getting through this this trend line. The VIX up 3%, now sitting just above 20. And on the crypto side, we have Bitcoin up 350 and Ethereum down 15, but again, some very small bars here recently. On the news side of things, economic data points, we had initial jobless claims today. Came in slightly lower than what was expected, but more or less in line. Not a big deal. Tomorrow, though, PCE being the big one on tap for tomorrow. Earnings season continues now. Earlier this morning, we had Walmart, LMND, John Deere, all had some pretty significant moves. After market close, we can check. NEM Newmount is the one I was really interested in here, but let's go to the charts. Walmart, there we go. They opened higher, they gapped higher, but completely reversed here and closing lower by $1.75. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but from where it was above 130 earlier today and finishing below 125 here. And we also had Lemonade, which again had a sizable gap up and then completely turned around and gave it all back and then some, finishing lower by 6%. On a positive note, we had John Deere, which gapped up and continued to move higher. It finished higher by over 11.5%. So really nice look there. Big push and obviously a new all-time high for John Deere. Now aftermarket close, NEM, and is it out? Well, it looks like, and to the positive here, up a little over 2%. I think CPRT was another one. Here, that one's down almost 11%. So not good news there. Now, I have a few other charts that I want to share with you. Here they are. I'm going to start from the bottom. Adobe looks pretty bearish. I mean, it has been dropping for a while. We have a new Victory 3 short here. Yes, it is a little ways from that ATR indicator. Now, here's the way I want you to look at it, or the way I would look at this. Normally, I would prefer setups that are closer to that, because that is our plan B, our second level stop, right? So it just means we're taking a little bit more risk. Now, on something like this, $250 stock, you could look at a prior high and put your stop just there if you want, or just allow the Victor 3 to do its thing. But, you know, if you look at the level risk from the entry here down in the 250 range and your stop being here near 285, you know, a decent amount of risk there. Now, earnings are 21 days away, and that is why the distance from that ATR is why it is not my favorite today. But have a look at this. It's been dropping for a while, and here's the monthly, and I still think there's lots of room in this area that has a real lack of support. So we could be heading down to around 40 here, where we start to see some support. I know that sounds ridiculous going from 259 to 40, but how many times have we seen it, right? Over and over again. And certainly this is not the type of move that's going to happen overnight. It'll take several months, but that is the potential there. So at a minimum, I think this one is worth putting on a watch list, if not taking a small position here. Now, we have, and here's the NIKL. Here's that metal I was talking about. Now, NIKL, I'm not talking about Nickel Asia Corp here. I'm talking about the Sprott Nickel Miners ETF. You know, we all know what gold and silver has done recently. Nickel seems to be waking up here. We had a real nice run, a pullback that didn't go too far, consolidation around this key level. And now yesterday we had this long plus, but we did not take out that high yet, right? We haven't followed through yet. So that's what I'm watching. The high there is 1955. So I think if we can get above that, we've got something going here. Look at the weekly. The other thing that gets my attention here is this massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is already triggered. That neckline was down here. But, you know, we had that strong push through it. We came right back pretty close to it, and now we're bouncing. And if we look at the monthly, there it is. We're not far at all from the all-time highs near 23. And more importantly, there's really very little, if any, resistance above there. So this is one I would definitely keep on the watch list. We also had Caterpillar, which is a nice setup. Again, a little far from the ATR. And when it's an more expensive stock, you know, you gotta measure that. I mean, percentage-wise, it's not huge at all, right? But it's got to match your risk tolerance. The more risk there is for you, the more difficult you're going to have keeping your emotions out of the trade, right? So that's why these things really depend on the individual. But this, you know, looks good to me. I mean, if we look at the weekly, very nice, strong, clean trend intact. Here's the monthly. We keep making higher highs and higher lows 1 month to the next. There's nothing overhead. And so this still looks good. And my favorite is NTR. And I think Raul had brought this up in our last chat, Nutrien. And I had also, I believe, flagged it because of the formation on the monthly. So when I posted the monthly charts that I was looking at on the Teams chat at the end of January, I believe this was one of them, and it was because of this. And now here we are about to push through. Here's the weekly, right? Looks pretty good. And there's the daily. And so I think there's plenty of room for this to go. And I really like this one. And earnings here are 76 days away. And remember, we're still in earnings season. Still need to check those earnings dates before doing anything. But there are a few that I'm looking at. Now, tomorrow, we're having another live market chat. So come on and join us if you can. We're going to kick off at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, I hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you on our next update. Take care.